All right.
Hi guys, I'm Colleen and I am here with Andrew Linder, correct? Make sure I'm
Yes.
getting your name right. Um, and he is going to talk about how he started homeschooling and like what got him into it, and then the classes that he is teaching at the convention this year. So you guys know a little more about him and what to expect for his classes. So I guess first off is who are you? Who's your family and what got you into homeschooling?
Yeah. So my name's Andrew, as she said. I am married to my wife, Charity, and I am the father of four awesome kids. So we have four biological children, and we've had multiple foster children over the years in and out of our home. Currently, we have one 4-month-old foster baby, and her nickname's Little J, and we just love her to death. But the Lord's blessed us with the ability to have and ministered to a lot of these kids. I've been in children's and family ministry as a pastor for the last 23 years. And my wife and I have served in a couple different ministries, one in Kansas and then now here in Illinois over the course of those 23 years. And Illinois is home to us. So this is coming back home for us when we move back to Illinois to serve in our current ministry. But our passion is intentional parenting and helping parents to be purposeful and to help both parents and leaders to be effective in reaching the next generation. So we do that through a couple means. We do it through a weekly blog site at godlyparent.com. We also do it through a book that recently came out this past year called Godly Parenting in an Ungodly World, and just trying to, through many avenues, help parents to be what God's called them to be.
Okay, well, that it sounds like you've had a lot of experience. I was going to say, I babysit right now. I have four that are what, two 9-month olds, an almost 2-year old, and then a 3-year old. So everybody laughs because they're like, and then I have my two children, which are 11 and 14, almost 15. So they're always like, how do you have time to do anything else? And I was like, well, nap time works really well when everybody cooperates and goes down for nap like they're supposed to, which unfortunately, I'm sure, as you know, doesn't always work. And we just kind of go
Yes.
with the flow. And luckily, my
Yep.
children are very good with the kids as well and enjoy helping out. My daughter is a mini me, so she has gotten the same gift I got and can deal with kids, which is really helpful for me. So, um, I guess why, I don't know whether this really applies. You kind of probably said, why do you teach or share your knowledge? I guess what made you start like the blog, coming to the conventions, just a different avenue of sharing that? I guess is probably what I would get out of what you said.
Yes. So, we've been homeschooling for a number of years now, and we've attended the convention in previous years and benefited from it. We also are connected with some of the people that are closely tied to the convention by way of speaking there every year that attend our church. And, we've learned from them. And so this just gives us an opportunity to minister to a category of people that we feel like we resonate with and share some things in common, especially homeschool families who, like us, want to raise not just good kids but godly kids. And part of their homeschooling philosophy for why they go that route is because of that. They
Mhm.
want to instill their values, their worldview into their kids. And so a big part of our message through our blog content and our book is in line with that.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was going to say in homeschooling, everybody kind of laughs about we started homeschooling like right after COVID hit, but it was like, oh, so
Uh-huh.
it's because of COVID. And I said, no, it actually has nothing to do with COVID, like at all. I'm like, my kids didn't want to wear masks, but I was like, that was about the only thing that had to do with COVID. I said it really had to do with my youngest wasn't being pushed. And the more I like, because they were here online during COVID, and I'm like, okay, but they're not learning anything. Like they already know this stuff. This is like they're not being pushed, they're not being challenged. And I was like, well, after that, I was like, well, if I'm going to be here anyway, I can do this. Like, this is easy. But like, we went through like the American Indians, and like, I
Mhm.
have Indian heritage, but also just looking at it from the point of view of being a Christian versus what actually happened back then, even with Christians back, you know what I mean? What supposedly God wanted us to do versus what realistically he wants us to do. because that was
Right.
one of those, oh, in the name of God. Well, yeah, except for that's not really the way God would have chosen to do it if he was here. But hey, but explaining that I think makes a big difference. And I mean, there's a lot of things in history that, again, go along with that same thing. Oh, it's in God's name, but it's really not. If,
Mhm.
you look at the way God teaches in the Bible versus what humankind has twisted it to be. So, okay. So the classes that, can you kind of speak on what your classes are, a little more about them, and you can give the times and dates if you have them. I can look them up if not.
Yeah, so there will be two different sessions that I'll be doing. One on Friday at 10:30, and then another one on Saturday at 1. And both of those are for any parents who still have kids at home. The first one that we'll talk about is the 4 seasons of parenting and how to maximize on those 4 seasons. Of course, parenting is an 18-year journey. But along those 18 years, it's one big season of parenting, but it can be divided into 4 smaller seasons. That if parents understand what those seasons are and what their key responsibility is for their kids and the key need that their kids have during those seasons, it can set them up for success because the goal is that we're tapping into the laws of sowing and reaping according to the Bible. And if we know the right things to do at the right times, it really helps us to be able to be successful. And so we'll talk about those seasons and how to maximize on each season to give the child what they need and to be what we need to be as parents. And then in the Saturday session, we're going to talk about what godly parenting or grace-based parenting looks like, specifically how to raise good versus godly kids. So how do we not just raise good, but godly kids in our home? And, for us, like I mentioned, homeschooling plays into that because we are allowed to be the primary faith influencers in our children's lives in a magnified way through homeschooling. Doesn't mean that other families can't do it differently and do it well, but this plays into our philosophy of how we can maximize the investment we have into our kids. So in that session on Saturday, we're going to talk about how to recognize the key to parenting is parenting our child's head and their heart, and more importantly, parenting not just their head but their heart specifically, because a lot of Christian parents do settle for raising good kids instead of being focused on raising godly kids, and there is a difference. And we want to see what that difference is. If God's trusted us to raise human lives for eternity, then we need to make sure that we're not just managing their behavior, but we're cultivating their heart. And so, what does that look like, and how do we know how to cultivate our child's heart for a lifetime of serving Jesus, which is what our goal is to help them serve the Lord. So hopefully those sessions will be helpful, practical, and give parents a lot of takeaways to be able to put to use in their own home.
Okay. Oh, I think a lot of parents will gladly appreciate some insight, if nothing else, into, because, like you said, everybody does everything differently. It's not just
Mhm.
your way is the only way, but
Mhm.
knowing, that was kind of my big thing with homeschooling is, okay, this is what I think we should do, but knowing that there are other versions and that all those versions have worked, you know what I mean, in some form or
Mhm.
another, because like my two children are night and day. Like the way we teach one is not the way we teach the other one, and same thing with like discipline. The way one of them gets disciplined is definitely not the way it doesn't even work on the other one. You know what I mean? Like they are night and day.
Yeah.
And I have a brother. It's just me and my brother too. So, but we are night and day in a lot of things too. So like it amuses me to see how dramatically and how easily homeschooling allows you to fit both of those. You know what I mean? Both my kids get what they
Right.
need when they need it and how they need it without it really being that much more on me. Where if they're at regular school, it becomes a whole big challenge because there's only one kind of learning as far as the school is concerned. And sometimes that is not the best way for any of the kids, let alone the ones that need extra help. So, well, I guess the last little thing was, do you have any tidbit or motto or something that is kind of yours that you like to use?
There's a couple different things that we use often, but one of them that kind of encapsulates the mindset behind a lot of what we share is just a quote that says, "Good children are being trained how to behave by following rules." godly children are being trained how to live by following Jesus, and a big difference in the rules versus the relationship as the focus in what we do as parents in our homes.
I like that. I've never heard that, but I like that because, yeah, sometimes rules do not necessarily, they're set there for a reason, but they can be twisted very easily and very quickly. And well, history has shown that very thoroughly. So I really like that. Okay. Well, I hope to see you at the convention and I thank you for your
Yeah,
time. And
absolutely.
hopefully everybody that listens to this will get something out of it and know whether that was my big goal with doing these is like I went for the first time last year and I wouldn't say I was terrified, but like I didn't know which one I should go to versus another one versus, you know what I mean? There's all
Oh
these
yeah,
things and I'm like, so this was my goal was to try to give other people that ability to choose and feel like they were making a confident choice a little better knowing because I know reading it, but sometimes you're like, okay, well, reading that just didn't mean much to me. I still don't understand what I'm going to learn or not learn or. So
sure.
I appreciate your time and we'll see you at the convention.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Thank
Bye bye now.
you.
Uh-huh.